I upgraded to the Apple Watch Series 9 from my first generation Apple Watch SE, and I was really excited to try Double Tap, but it let me down. That said, after a few months of using the Series 9, I am still glad I upgraded, but I just don't think everyone would feel the same, or needs to do the same. I'd love to tell you why, so let's talk tech. I'm aging more ardently tech, and the Apple Watch Series 9 might look familiar, and that's because it is. Since the Series 7, maybe even the 6, there hasn't been any great design overhaul with the Apple Watch. There is rumors that the Series 10 Apple Watch will be getting the nice redesign, which I'm excited for, but for now, we are stuck with this familiar design, which isn't bad, it's just the same. Besides the new rose color or the Series 9 engraved in the back of the Apple Watch, there's nothing externally that would indicate that this, at first glance, is a new Apple Watch. While similar things could be said about the Series 9 feature set, there are some things that I didn't have on my Apple Watch SE that I'm really excited to have now, so let's start there. And the first thing that I'm really excited to have now is fast charging. But with the Series 9's fast charging capabilities and battery life, it makes charging less of an issue. When I wake up, I can put it on the charger as I get ready for the day. By the time I leave for work, it'll be pretty close to being fully charged, if not fully charged. So I am very grateful for that because it made something that was a big issue with my SE not noticeable at all. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many minutes of charging gets you how many hours of battery life, but here's that number for reference. Another thing that I love about my Series 9 Apple Watch that I didn't have on my SE is the larger screen. Or I guess the better screen to body ratio. While I still have the same 45mm size of Apple Watch, there's a better screen to body ratio on the Apple Watch Series 9 than there was on my SE. When you see the better screen to body ratio of the newer Apple Watches from like the Series 7, 8, and 9, it really makes those older model Apple Watches and the SE feel a little dated. And while we're on the topic of the screen, I'm really excited to have always on display now. I know that's been around since the Apple Watch Series 5, but again, the SE didn't have that always on display. But what I really love about the always on display is that despite the fact that I have it on all the time, my Series 9 still has better battery life than my SE did without. The next thing that I was really excited for is a little silly, but it's the full-size keyboard that you have on the Series 9. I didn't have that on my SE, and I was kind of limited to just doing speech to text or writing with my index finger, which I don't have the best handwriting, so it doesn't always turn out the right way. So I was just basically doing speech to text most of the time, which for the most part is pretty accurate, but there's times where it doesn't understand me, or I say something differently, or I say something weird and it translates it incorrectly, and then trying to edit that on the Apple Watch just was a little annoying. Now with the full-size keyboard, I can just swipe and fix that pretty easily, and I love it. And the Series 9 Apple Watch can get just as bright as my iPhone 14 Pro, which is 2000 nits of brightness, and trust me, sometimes it's too bright. A few other features that my Series 9 has that I didn't have on my SE are things like the ECG monitor, the blood oxygen monitor, crash detection, which I hope I never have to use, and name drop, which I've only used a couple times, but it's a nice feature to have. Before I tell you what I didn't like about the Apple Watch Series 9, there is one last thing that I did really enjoy, and it was the new watchOS 10, which is an exclusive to the Series 9, but it really worked well on the Series 9. I did get to try my SE with the watchOS 10, and it worked well, but not as well as it does on the Series 9. Now obviously I think that's because of the new S9 chip, but it really is a really seamless, smooth, and fast experience on this new Apple Watch. Again, I don't want to say anything bad about the SE because the SE worked so well and I didn't notice anything until I compared how fast a newer Apple Watch is. They also announced that the Siri was supposed to be better on watchOS and the Series 9, and I'm not quite sure if I noticed that yet. I think I do. There's times where it's still pretty unreliable, but that's just Siri being Siri sometimes. That said, it still does what I needed to do for the most part, like setting timers and small easy tasks that doesn't overwhelm it. But there'll be updates. I'm sure it will get better as time goes on. I'm not sure if it's been fully rolled out at this point, but I don't want to shoot it down right away. But let me know in the comments below what your Siri experience has been with the Apple Watches, because again, I just don't know if I've noticed too much of a difference. And while you're at it, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it so far and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Now, let's talk about the things I didn't like about the Apple Watch Series 9. And the first thing is the price. Now, I love Apple Watches, but I still believe that they're their second most overpriced product out there. The first being AirPod Maxes, but the second being Apple Watches by a long shot. Especially when you get into stainless steel territory, man, overpriced. And don't get me started on the Ultras, $800. But even this Apple Watch costs around $300 to $400 depending on the size and specs that you get with it. But cool, it's carbon neutral now if you get the right watch band. I think honestly price is the main reason why people are turned away from getting an Apple Watch for themselves. The SE is a great addition to the lineup of Apple Watches. It makes it much more affordable, yes, but even that can get a little pricey if you get the 45mm model. That said, the used market is a great place to find well-priced and reasonably priced Apple Watches. I got my Apple Watch SE used for $100 on Mercari. If you're considering getting a used Apple Watch, before you do that, make sure to watch this video up here. I just make sure you don't get scammed like I did when I bought a used Apple Watch Series 7. I don't want you to get scammed. So I did a video on how to avoid getting scammed with Apple Watches. So watch that up there. But now let's talk about Double Tap. Again, this is something that I was really excited about personally, and I know a lot of people felt like it was just gimmicky and weird, but obviously they're using this as an opportunity to get us used to this gesture of double tapping, because that's how we're gonna interact with things with the Vision Pro goggles, which I don't know how many of us will actually get those things, but Apple just wants to, I guess, get us trained and used to these ways of interacting with our Apple devices. That said, I really did feel like there had so much potential in this feature, but it's very limited. Here's a list of things that you can do with it. Just not all inclusive, but opening the Smart Stacks with a watch face and scrolling through a stack of widgets, answering a phone call, viewing a message on notifications, and then being able to respond to that message by double tapping, viewing a message from notifications, scrolling through a longer notification, you can start and stop automatic workout reminders, and then performing the primary function of notifications such as incoming message or a messaging app or snoozing reminders, including from third parties. Now, there's no secret that this is not necessarily a new feature because this was available on older Apple Watches through the accessibility features, and their argument is that this is a lot better here because of the S9 chip and the new sensors in the Apple Watch Series 9. And I will say I did try to use it on my SE, the accessibility double tap feature, and it didn't register as fast as the double tap does on the Apple Watch Series 9. So I do believe there's truth to that, but it just feels a little gimmicky when they pass it on as a new feature when the Apple Watches have been able to do that before. That said, the accessibility feature is still available and you can still turn it on, but you can't turn on those hand gestures and keep double tap as well. You have to use one or the other. When I tried the hand gestures, it didn't work as well with me, but maybe I was doing something wrong. The one thing that the hand gestures do have that the double tap feature doesn't have is the ability to customize the gesture and what the function of that gesture is. With double tap, it's just that primary function of whatever app, and it's weird, it's kind of inconsistent too. For example, when you're doing a workout and you want to pause or play your music, you can't just double tap and it'll completely pause your music. You have to swipe to the screen that shows your music and then double tap and it'll pause it. That said, I thought for a second that you couldn't double tap and play and pause on Spotify, but you can only do it on Apple Music. Then I realized for some reason when you go through the Spotify app, you can't play and pause, but if you go to Spotify during your workout, then you're able to play and pause, which is, I don't know, weird, but a small thing that I noticed. Overall, there was just a lot more apps than I expected that weren't compatible with double tap. And I don't know why. I hope that with a future update, there might be some changes to maybe an addition like a triple tap or a single tap, or, you know, some customization when it comes to that gesture and what it does, just like it does in the accessibility features. So unfortunately, despite how excited I was, it just didn't live up to that excitement. Though it is still good and is a nice feature, it's just not one that everyone will adapt into the normal way of interacting with this watch. Because they pass it on as a way to interact with your watch without having to touch the screen, which, yeah, it's true. But there are a lot of times where you have to get it to the right screen to be able to use double tap, which just doesn't make sense to me, you know? When it works well, and I'm really excited about what it can be in the future, just not what it is right now. But I could be wrong. Let me know if you have an Apple Watch Series 9 and you use double tap religiously or every day. Let me know where and how, and if that is something that you feel like you can't live without anymore. But yeah, overall though, this Apple Watch was, again, a perfect upgrade for me. As someone who came from a used Apple Watch SE to this brand new Apple Watch Series 9, it was a significant upgrade and enough for me to be happy with it. It gave me some of my most needed and necessary features to really enjoy my experience with the Apple Watch, like fast charging, always on display, and the full-size keyboard. Again, the price point and the new double tap feature is just a little underwhelming, and there's just not much of a difference between this new model of Series 9 and the Series 8 and 7 that look nearly identical to it. So the big question is, should you upgrade? And I think if you have a Series 4 and older, I think you should definitely upgrade. Maybe even an SE, maybe a Series 5 and 6, you can upgrade and really enjoy this. But if you have a Series 7, a Series 8, there's virtually nothing different from this Series 9 to the one you have currently. A case could be made for the 5 and 6 as well, but the larger screen display, if you really enjoy that, then I think it might be at least worth considering upgrading if you have a Series 5 or 6. So yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, but let me know in the comments below whether you're considering to pick up the Series 9 or if you're gonna hold on to the watch you have now and get the Series 10 when it comes out next year, or maybe you're thinking of getting a used one like the Series 7 or Series 8. And again, if you're gonna do that, watch this video right here so you don't get scammed when buying a used Apple Watch. Very important. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.